Welcome to the Unscripted Opinion, and today we explore the evolving role of Africa on the international stage. We delve into how Africa is shifting its position, rising as a significant player in global affairs.
Well, first, you must understand that the current global financial system was set up against a certain context.
Yeah.
That context has since significantly changed. And therefore, it is struggling. The current financial system is struggling to respond to the challenges of the moment.
Yeah.
Africa's position on the international stage has recently been going through massive changes. This is informed by the changing perception on not only the value that the continent offers to the international community, but also an urgency in playing a more active role in shaping policies, leading discussions, and also shaping opinions.
From where I sit, from the beginning, the current international financial architecture is, to put it bluntly, rigged against those of us in the global south, because we cannot meaningfully address our development needs using the financial resources from this architecture.
Africa, a continent of about over 1.216 billion people, is set to outperform the rest of the world in economic growth over the next 2 years, with real gross domestic product, that is GDP, averaging around 4% in 2023 and 2024. This sets in stone the phrase, "the future is Africa." It is no secret that most multinational companies with interests in Africa are already making their way into the continent.
American technology firm Microsoft will set up a technology development center in Kenya, the 7th of its kind globally. The center is set to be Microsoft's gateway to the East African region and is expected to provide potential for jobs and business opportunities for tech-savvy Kenyan youth in the various ICT specializations. Besides Nairobi, Microsoft has earmarked Nigeria as the other beneficiary of a similar facility on the continent to serve West Africa. The Nairobi Center is expected to be a premier hub of engineering for the US technology company and its affiliates.
In today's global economy, Africa is increasingly being recognized as a continent with immense economic potential. As African nations continue to experience steady economic growth, they are emerging as economic powerhouses in their respective regions. This progress has caught the attention of established economic players from around the world who are now actively seeking economic partnerships in Africa.
Before the Chinese brand coming to the Asian market, most people think that the mobile phones is a luxury products for them. But now, after the many Chinese brands coming to the Egypt, the price is very affordable for them. There are a lot of rural areas have the requirement to buy a smartphone, but however, their budget is very tight. In this point, the Chinese phones can help them a lot for enjoying the life through our advanced technology.
From developed nations to emerging markets, countries are eager to tap into Africa's vast market, abundant natural resources, and a young and dynamic workforce. These economic powerhouses see Africa as a promising investment destination, offering mutual beneficial opportunities for trade, infrastructure development, technology transfer, and knowledge exchange. By forging strategic economic partnerships with Africa, these nations aim to leverage the continent's growth and contribute to its development while simultaneously expanding their own economic reach. Africa's economic powerhouses are embracing these collaborations as a means to boost their own economies while fostering inclusive and sustainable growth across the continent.
So Kenya has concluded negotiations on the EU-Kenya Economic Partnership Agreement, marking the resolution of a 7-year-long search for an agreement. The partnership will see Kenyan products enter the EU market duty-free and will further enhance market penetration, giving Kenyan products reach to more than 500,000 new customers across 27 EU member states. The partnership will create decent jobs and economic growth as well.
But with partnerships and interests expressed by economic powerhouses, a question arises. Are these partnerships equal, or does Africa give more than it actually receives?
African states that are members of the tripartite free trade agreement so that we can bring them on board this agreement subsequently. And hopefully we can also take this all the way to the Africa Continental Free Trade Area so that we can build a bigger market, build a bigger consensus, and be able to do more with the populations that exist between Europe and Africa.
There has been a notable shift in foreign policy among African countries, driven by a desire to overcome external pressures and redefine relationships with economic partners as partnerships of equals.
This means full and unhindered access to the EU market. This creates strong incentives for trade and for EU companies to invest in Kenya. Indeed, this agreement provides wider incentives for increasing foreign direct investment. It is also accompanied by the trade-related development cooperation. The goal here is to support job creation and sustainable economic growth, with a particular focus on micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises.
African nations are increasingly asserting their sovereignty, seeking to reshape the narrative of dependency and establish more balanced and mutually beneficial partnerships.
We have been to US Africa. We have been to some other engagement with other countries. Now we have been invited for Russia-Africa Summit. We have made a decision very respectfully as heads of state in Africa that any engagement with other partners must be an engagement of equals. And for it to be meaningful, if we are going to meet the president of a country, we have organized ourselves that the Troika is going to represent Africa. The chair, the current chair, the past chair, the chair that is coming, and the heads of our regional economic commissions, about 6-7 people. But what happens continuously? When others want to engage with us, they don't want to deal with a troika. They want to invite 50 heads of state. So we go to a meeting, just explain to me what kind of outcome you expect where 50 heads of state are sitting. Everybody is asked for speak to 1.5 minutes. You speak to for 1.5 minutes. What kind of engagement are you going to get? You're going to get nothing, right? The best that you get is photographs.
This shift reflects a determination to protect national interests, promote inclusive development, and foster greater agency in decision-making processes.
And investments on how to get to net zero, how to re-engineer the globe towards that direction. Investments that are being discussed is in the region of 150 trillion US dollars. The only conversation that is being discussed about loss and damage is 100 billion. It is not a tenth. It is not 1%. So we are being consigned to a debate at the corner about loss and damage adaptation, when the real conversation about investment is happening elsewhere. Why we are meeting in Nairobi on the 4th to the 6th of August is because we believe that it is no longer possible to continue to assume that Africa cannot develop and at the same time have resilient, climate-resilient growth. Because for a long time, people thought maybe it is it is not possible for us to have a conversation about development in Africa and at the same time to have a conversation about climate resilient development.
By emphasizing a partnership of equals, African countries are advocating for fair trade, technology transfer, and investment that aligns with their own developmental priorities. This strategic repositioning allows African nations to assert their voice, negotiate better terms, and ensure that foreign partnerships contribute to their long-term sustainable development goals. It signifies a significant step towards greater self-reliance and the establishment of a more equitable global economic order.
But we do not want to come to the table as victims, That's not what we want to do. We want to come, we have our own ideas. We believe we can make a contribution towards sorting out this global challenge. It's affecting us the most. We have contributed the least, but that is not the conversation. We are telling the globe that we have ideas on how to sort out this problem. And we want Africa to be part of the answer. We are not going to accept to continue to be labeled as victims.
The necessity of this foreign policy shift for African countries cannot be overstated. Historically, many African nations have faced challenges stemming from imbalanced power dynamics and unequal relationships with economic partners.
Chinese people living here in the meantime is 4 times as much as, for example, the German community. And so far, it's not precisely the same what takes place all over the world. There are differences. And what I'm...
Mr. Speaker, what is your problem with that? Why does it become your problem? It looks like it's a more European problem than our problem.
Yeah.
You are so sorry for us. I don't see... Chinese will never come and play around here. As Germans not allowed to do that. Which Germans are doing, by the way. You talk about Chinese. We allow Germans to come offer visas here. Red carpet. Our people are harassed in Germany. Even diplomatic passport holders. In Germany. Yeah, I'm not your puppet. So why Chinese talk about Germans? How we are treating us there. Chinese don't treat us like that.
These imbalances have often perpetuated a cycle of dependency, hindering the ability of African nations to fully harness their resources and chart their own developmental paths. By embracing a foreign policy centered on partnerships of equals, African countries seek to break free from this cycle and reclaim their agency in shaping their own destinies. This shift is crucial for fostering sustainable economic growth, reducing dependency on external actors, and ensuring that African nations have the autonomy to pursue policies that align with their unique needs and aspirations.
It is really time that as a continent, and I shared my thoughts with Musa Faki, that as a continent, we must take charge of our destiny.
Yes.
We must take charge of our security. 60 years after the formation of the Africa Union, we cannot continue to depend on Europe, the EU, the US, China, and I don't know which other place, to manage our own affairs. I think it is time. And that is why we took the decision in DRC. We didn't look for resources from, I don't know which organization. We used Kenyan resources.
Wagner, you heard about Wagner?
Yeah, we are at Uganda. We agreed that every country should deploy troops using their own resources because we need to take charge of our region. These are our issues. We need to deal with the security of our region because if we do not deal with the security of our region, we are foregoing opportunities of investment, of job creation, of growing our economies, and we are basically working against ourselves.
By redefining relationships with economic partners as a partnership of equals, African countries can work towards greater self-determination, economic empowerment, and realization of their full potential as active participants on the global stage.
That we have made as AU is that going forward, if there is going to be a discussion between Africa and any other country, we are going to be represented by the chair, the outgoing chair, the bureau.
Chair of the commission or the chair
and the chair of the recs, and we have 5 recs. That should be sufficient for, a meeting of maybe 6-7.
Yeah.
That should be able to represent Africa, and that is the position I am taking as the president of Kenya. For any other meeting that we are going to have with all these requests, that we have a meeting between Africa and one other country. We respect the sovereignty of others. I think to ask for reciprocation is not to ask for too much.
No.
Africa's political evolution has seen a transformation in leadership, with African leaders actively engaging in global affairs and advocating for the continent's interest. This evolving leadership is reshaping Africa's position on the international stage. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found this exploration of Africa's political evolution insightful. Remember to like, subscribe, share our channel. Stay tuned for more thought-provoking content on Africa's dynamic political landscape. And until next time, take care.